grand. It spans worlds, so that's why the cast is what it is. We're occupying the epic narrative of our time.
But it's not your time. This is set in ancient Greece. Or it doesn't have to be a modern movie. Just make something that is representative of the time. Today, we are taking a look at The Odyssey Has a Woke Problem. Now, this is either going to be a good video or a very infuriating one. Let's begin.
Like millions of people this weekend, I went to war. And by war, I mean AMC.com, to go and get tickets to see one of the most anticipated movies of the summer, which is The Odyssey. And when I went to go see it, I was taken aback. I was gagged, if you will. And a lot of things were put in perspective for me. One being that, wow, Zendaya looks amazing. And two, I finally get it about Tom Holland. Like, Zendaya, you really saw the vision. And when I left the theater and went online, I was taken aback because apparently my observations were not the same ones being had by different sides of the internet. And what I mean by that is...
Yes, I've heard a lot of I haven't watched much controversy on this, so I'm coming in from a completely clean lens, because I haven't actually watched it. I haven't been interested in this. However, once I saw... Okay, I get interested when someone mentions the word woke in a video. I'm like, it's just going to lean either one side or the other, isn't it? So, I'm coming in from a completely clean lens because I actually don't know what the original movie is about. I should probably have done some research, but, you know, I don't know what the original video is about. The original movie was about. So this is a completely, utterly clean lens I'm coming in with.
Is that there has been a glaring question raised by the likes of Elon Musk and Don Jr. during the rollout and eventually the actual promotion of the film. Is The Odyssey too woke? And I don't know what to say. I'm just as gagged as you are because, like, we can't have all watched the same movie. Because what? Like, yes, this is a real question about The Odyssey, and conservatives have called for a boycott of the film, specifically due to its inclusion of Black actress Lupita Nyong'o.
Okay. I'm going to look up something quickly before I make any judgments. Okay, Odyssey is set in the ancient Mediterranean world of 12th century BC, ancient Mediterranean. The primary skin tone of the population was described as olive Mediterranean, so whitish with a tinge, I think. That's troubling. If my mind is correct, these people would not have that skin tone in that set period. Okay, well just continue before I say
Helen of Troy, and for transgender actor Elliot Page as Sinon. Which, before we get into anything,
God. So I said I came in with a clean lens. Transgender should not be a thing in that time period. It was not a thing and it has never been a thing within that time period. Transgender is a very new concept. Very new. Like 2000s new. What? Hold on.
Didn't know where I stand on this. Are completely non-issues to this whole thing. Like, y'all are just...
I'm sorry? How are these non-issues? Let's break this down. So... in movies, in general, I have a problem with race swapping. A lot of these times, they will race swap a white person to a black person, but I would still have the same feelings let's say in an alternate universe where I was in the same position, but instead black people were turned into white people, I would still have the same issue. Why? Well, because people shouldn't be swapping out for another race. The thing is, it's only happening on one side. It's only one side that's this happening on, and it's always white people turning into another race, and it's majority the time it's a black person. And I'm not saying it's bad that it's because it's black. No, it's bad because you're favoring a certain group over another. As I said, I'd have the same feelings if it was a black person to a white person. I would still have that feel that as troubling, because you shouldn't be race swapping a person just for the sake of it. And this mainly applies to stories that already exist. I have no problem with new stories, because new movies, new stories, entirely a new universe. You're not swapping anything because they're new characters. So just create a new movie if you want that type of character. You don't have to race swap. These directors, right? There's a reason why they're calling it woke. It's because, well, they're trying to win moral points of who can they checkbox as the most minorities in the movie. That's just like, why is it the focus of the movie? That shouldn't be the focus of the movie. The focus of the movie should be whatever the actual plot is, and not some transgender person. Don't get me started on that. Why is the transgender person in ancient Greece? Is that ancient Greece? I think that's what it said. Ancient Greeks, ancient Mediterranean. What the hell?
It's being so dramatic. And trust and believe we're going to dive more into this later in the video, especially since that this is not the first time that casting choices that aren't cisgender white people have ruffled just a few.
Cisgender? Just say Don't you just mean normal? Cisgender? What are you on about with cisgender? I hate that term. Like, just call it normal. There's nothing wrong if you want to be a transgender male, girl. I don't care. And that's not normal, but I don't care. It doesn't have to be normal. Normal doesn't mean bad. Why do people think normal or not normal doesn't mean bad? People have this assumption that, oh, because you're saying it's not normal, that means it's bad. That doesn't mean it's bad. I'm autistic. I don't think I'm bad because I'm autistic. I mean, despite my beliefs that I'm pretty sure a lot of the population is autistic and don't know it, if we're just going off what's known, I'm technically a minority, and technically I'm abnormal. But I don't care. I don't care that I'm abnormal. I think that's fine. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. It doesn't have to be bad at all. And these people, they try and think, they say, you're saying normal instead of cis, that means you're bad. No, that doesn't mean I'm bad, or you're bad, or anyone's bad. It just means, you know, normal just means the regular. What's occurs most in society. People for the majority of history and the majority of society even now are heterosexual, their birth gender. It doesn't mean changing whatever or being gay or bi, whatever. That doesn't mean that's bad. It just means it's not as common. How is this a debate? What are we talking about?
You delicate conservative.
So I forgot to
Hey guys,
record.
what's up? It's
God
Emergency and welcome back to my channel. And first, let's actually touch on the plot, because apparently everyone and their mother read this book in their high school English class. But if you're generally unfamiliar with the Odyssey, like myself, here's the TLDR. The Odyssey is originally based on the Greek mythology by Homer, which details the decade-long journey of Greek king Odysseus.
I'm glad he blurred that out, because I don't want to get a strike from YouTube.
As he fights to return home to Ithaca after the Trojan War. And during his journey, he battles mythical creatures like Cyclops and Sirens. All the while back home, his wife Penelope and son Telemachus fight to protect their home and kingdom. And the story is a classic for a reason. Like, it touches on themes like temptation, loyalty, perseverance, strength, and conquest. Oh, wait, hold on. Not that type of conquest.
I can't wait.
And by and large, the people have loved this movie. In an excerpt from one review, The Odyssey is a deeply personal and thoughtful film that, for a 3-hour movie, moves impressively well. It's all about the casualties of war and the battles soldiers fight after they...
Yes, it's so much about the casualties of war and battles that they had to put a transgender person in an ancient Greece movie. What are we doing?
Put down their weapons. And the movie explores themes of gods and
look,
men.
I'm not against people who are transgender, as long as they're adults, right? As long as they're adults and they want to be trans. I don't personally like it, but it's not my choice. It's their choice. If they want to do it, it's up to them. They're adults. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, okay? I don't like telling other people what they can and can't do. That's just being a dick, right? But yeah, I'll continue.
Myths and storytelling, in the tales we tell ourselves and each other versus hard truths. And let me be clear, this movie was bound for success, not only because it's one of the most famous adventure stories of all time, but the film's director, Christopher Nolan, is just as famous for working on blockbuster hits like The Dark Knight, Inception, Interstellar. Like, this is the man that gave us Oppenheimer, which was one half of the Barbenheimer craze back in 2023. And if Nolan's resume wasn't enough to get you excited, I haven't even gotten to the cast yet. Like, when you talk about star-studded, this hoe is star-studded. Like, in the main cast, we have Odysseus, who's played by Matt Damon, his son Telemachus, who's played by Tom Holland, as well as Anne Hathaway playing Odysseus' wife, Penelope. And then in supporting cast, we have Himesh Patel's fine self playing Eurylacus, Elliot Page as Sinon, Charlize Theron as Calypso, Lupita Nyong'o actually playing 2 roles, that being Helen of Troy and her sister. I'm going to butcher this, but Clytemnestra? Well, yes! And I know, it doesn't end there yet, because then you also have Robert Pattinson and Zendaya in another movie together. And
this is one issue I have. Hold on.
And her sister. I'm going to butcher this, but Clytemnestra? Well, yes. And I know, it doesn't end there yet, because then you also have Robert Pattinson and Zendaya.
Okay, another issue I have. Not a political issue this time, thankfully. They always use these high-budget Hollywood actors in movies. Why? Don't know. I think people have got a lot of fatigue, and thankfully they didn't put The Rock in. I think that people have a lot of fatigue of all these high-budget actors being in movies. But there's a Legend of Zelda movie that's coming out. Well, I don't know when it's going to come out, but the Legend of Zelda movie that's being made, that is not using a very high-budget actor. It's a new actor that not many people see, and I think it could go really well. And I think that's what people need to see. They're quite sick of seeing all these faces because they get intertwined with all these other movies. I think it's immersion breaking for a lot of people.
In another movie together. And also, Travis Scott. Like, when I tell you this cast is random, it is random.
I'm sorry? Travis Scott? Isn't he a music artist? So when is he an actor? Okay.
But it is star-studded. And despite the attempted boycott of the movie, the success of the film in its opening weekend speaks for itself. Like, according to Deadline, Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey remains on course for the best live-action feature debut this year at the North American box office to date, with $120.5 million after Friday/previews of $51.2 million. Now, the budget of the film was $250 million, so it seems like the film is well on track for a fierce profit. And just generally,
I would talk about the price. I don't know much about the cost of things. If this was about game development, or like if this was about a game being developed and it flopped or didn't flop, I would put my 2 cents in on the budgeting and how much it costs, like roughly. But I don't know much about movie production, so I can't really put my 2 cents in for that.
speaking online, I've been seeing a lot of positive reception of the movie, and at the time of filming, The Odyssey has a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes and just glowing reviews across Letterboxd.
I drove 2 hours to watch The Odyssey yesterday, my first ever 70mm IMAX experience, and what I expected was a grand spectacle, and I got it. But I was walloped by the most vulnerable and emotional experience I've ever had with a Nolan film. Yes, that includes Interstellar. I cried 7 times.
Oh, God. Look, I'm not going to call anyone weak. I'm not going to do that because I really don't care about someone if they're weak or not. But I'm quite a weak person, let's just say that. But I never cry when it comes to films or movies or games or shows, whatever. I've never understood how people can cry in movies. How? How can a person cry in a movie? I've never understood anyone, regardless of who they are. I've never understood how you're able to cry in a movie. Don't know, it boggles my mind.
And you know this movie's getting the winners at it because no good movie comes without a good controversy. And despite all the positive feedback and incredible acting, we do have a controversy on our hands. Because as we previously alluded to, Nolan's diverse casting choices faced heavy scrutiny, with critics including Elon Musk, which, side note, why is he always at the scene of the crime? Like, can he please leave? But having argued against Lupita Nyong'o's casting as Helen of Troy. Mind you, Lupita's a Kenyan-Mexican woman who challenges Hollywood's previous representation of Helen as a white, blonde-haired woman. And Elon was quick to take to Twitter to say that the reason...
Again, why is that a bad thing? Why is it bad that the original woman was blonde and white? How would this guy react? How would, the guy we're watching, how would he react if a black person was cast as a white person? Like, originally a black person was cast as a white person. I do wonder, how would this guy react? Would he be on his high horse still? Would be defensive? I don't know.
Why Nolan is casting someone like Lupita in this role is to quote-unquote get awards for being diverse. Then you also have people
I mean, yeah, that's a thing. You're acting like he's not being serious. What?
Matt Walsh, who's a conservative political commentator who hopefully will never be mentioned on this channel again, fingers crossed, criticizing the casting choice as well, saying that like he did not believe that she was the most beautiful woman in the world. Like, girl, let's go selfie for selfie. Put that face card on the line before we start talking about beauty, why don't we? With Matt's tweet saying, not one person on the planet actually thinks that Lupita Nyong'o is the most beautiful woman in the world. But Christopher Nolan knows...
Let's take a look at her again. So I didn't take notes of what she looked like. They're talking about how beautiful she looks, or not, or whatever.
Nolan's diverse cast...
Okay, what does the original actor look like? Hold on, wait. I do want to see, what does the original actor look like? Oh, Anne Hathaway, is that the original? I think it's Anne Hathaway. Okay, if we're comparing Anne Hathaway, that's the original one, right? If we're comparing Anne Hathaway to her, now, if we're comparing Anne Hathaway to her, and this isn't about a race thing, right? It's literally just a beauty thing. People are often more attracted to movies and shows that have beautiful characters. And we're talking about, like, actual style. Like Zendaya, right? She's not white, but she's like, she looks good. If she was, even with a darker skin tone, if she was same skin tone as her, right? And she was black, she would still look amazing. Let's say they got a lookalike exactly the same to the original, but just black. That would still be a point on, okay, at least you tried to make them look appealing. But this person doesn't look that appealing. People in movies, people watching movies are attracted to people who look nice. And no, again, I'm not talking about race. Race is totally separate. I don't care about race, except when we're talking about, like, race swapping. But right now we're talking about the beauty stuff. And people are attracted to beautiful characters. For example, a good example I like to give is when you're customizing a character in a video game, what is the character you're most likely to customize as? You're going to customize your character as a beautiful person, a person who looks nice to look at. I'm not fat shaming at all, but unless you're trying to do funny stuff. Usually people won't customize their character as really fat or obese. It's just a human desire. It's nothing to do with any moral stuff, right? It's literally just people wanting to look at something nice in a movie. That's it. Now, what is the...
And Elon
okay, let's go back to where we were talking about.
And Elon,
Okay,
why
let's
is he
work.
always at the scene of the crime? Like,
Okay.
can he please leave? But having argued against Lupita Nyong'o's casting as Helen of Troy. Mind you, Lupita's a Kenyan-Mexican woman who challenges Hollywood's previous representation of Helen as a white, blonde-haired woman. And Elon was quick to take to Twitter to say that the reason why Nolan is casting someone like Lupita in this role is to quote-unquote get awards for being diverse. Then you also have people like Matt Walsh, who's a conservative political commentator who hopefully will never be mentioned on this channel again, fingers crossed, criticizing the casting choice as well, saying that like he did not believe that she was the most beautiful woman in the world. Like, girl, let's go selfie for selfie. Put that face card on the line before we start talking about beauty. Why not?
You don't have to be the most beautiful woman in the world, but you gotta look appealing, and I'm sorry, but she doesn't really look that appealing to look at. Not about race. Again, I don't have to clarify that. People like taking everything out of context. I'm talking about beauty. That's it.
With Matt's tweet saying, not one person on the planet actually thinks that Lupita Nyong'o is the most beautiful woman in the world. But Christopher Nolan knows that he would be called racist if he gave the most beautiful woman role to a white woman. Nolan is technically talented, but a coward, too afraid to do anything that even slightly challenges the spirit of the age.
Yes, exactly. He's right. And I don't even know who Matt Walsh is. I'm not just agreeing with him because I don't even know who he is, to be honest. I've heard of him, but I've never really looked into him. I've heard the name, that's it.
Which is kind of rich to say because I think that is kind of counterintuitive to like what is going on. And also I have to reiterate, it's just very rich coming from these two interesting looking white men, to say the least. Because I don't know what they're talking about. Lupita is gorgeous.
She is very gorgeous to me!
And although
Look, everyone has their taste and that's fine, but for the average person, I don't think... Let me make this clear, I'm not talking about attraction. Attraction is totally separate to being nice to look at. There's just something about looking at a character that looks appealing, and there's something totally separate when it comes to attraction. Attraction is something totally separate.
she shouldn't even have to give these blatantly racist takes an ounce of attention, Lupita actually did address the controversy with style and class in an interview with Elle magazine, stating that I'm very supportive of Chris's intention with it and with the version of this story that he's telling. Our cast is representative of the world. I'm not spending my time thinking of a defense. The criticism will exist whether I engage with it or not. And then she elaborates on this thought at another point in the conversation, saying that it's quite something to be a part of the Odyssey because it's so grand. It spans worlds, so that's why the cast is what it is. We're occupying the epic narrative of our time. And honestly, that's real. And I'm sorry, what's so funny to me about conservatives having
But it's not your time! This is set in ancient Greece, or ancient Mediterranean, whatever you want to call it, thousands of years ago. This is not your time. If you want a movie for your time, create another one, or plan a movie that is set in our era. It doesn't have to be a modern movie. Just make something that is representative of the time. It's not meant to be for you, it's meant to be for the audience.
Problem with a black woman being cast as Helen of Troy is like, y'all realize she didn't actually exist, right? Like, this is a fictional character that we're talking about. Like, it would almost be like getting mad that a black woman was cast as, I don't know, a mermaid? A little mermaid? To be exact. Oh wait, actually, they did do that. Like, it's the fact that they could
If I just didn't pause Andy them, I would have seen that.
suspend disbelief that sirens and cyclops exist, but like draw the line at black women being beautiful. Like, what are we talking about?
I can excuse racism, but I draw the line at animal cruelty.
You can excuse racism.
Like, there's always this conversation around movies being woke or like things going woke. And like, whenever we have this conversation, people that are pushing the like everything is woke narrative is always like, oh my God, everyone's so sensitive. Everyone's such a snowflake. Like, they can't.
Well, because it is. These guys are so virtue signaling. The thing is, the average person doesn't want everything to be... You want to call it woke? Well, it is woke. That's the thing. What other word can you describe the infinite purity test that people have? Literally, what wokeism is wokeism a word? I don't know. But what wokeism is, it's literally just people having purity tests and forcing garbage down people's throats that don't want to have garbage forced down their throats. It's an infinite purity test, and once you fail the purity test, you have something that's slightly out of line of their preferred politics, they exile you from their community. That's why a lot of gay people are moving away from the LGBT plus community, because they are they are sick of the infinite purity test that comes with it. That's the thing. I agree with a lot of these causes the left has, right? They hurt their own causes so much. They are so focused on this infinite purity tests, they're turning on each other, and they're making the rest of the normal people, they're making them scared and run away because the cause has just been poisoned in their mind. The regular people, the average Joe, they just see the cause and they look at it in disgust because they're sick of the constant berating. People are just sick of this garbage pushed down people's throat.
And actually handle real stuff, like facts over feelings or whatever. But every time they say stuff like that, I'm always like, lest we forget that these are the same people that are consistently up in arms about any racial casting that they disagree with. Like, for example,
No, they're just sick of it entirely. They're sick of race swapping.
Back when it was announced back in 2022 that Halle Bailey would star as Ariel in Little Mermaid, it felt like every single corner of the internet lost their minds at the notion that a fictional character, who quite literally is
He's being so dishonest. He's so dishonest. It's not about the race. I mean, it's about the race, but it's not about them being black. It's about them swapping the original character. They're changing the original character's design. Little Mermaid, if she was black originally, and it was changed to white, I would still have a problem. It's the fact that they're race swapping, and they're only doing it on one side. It's ever only one side, and never anything else. It's never anything else ever. It's just one side, that's it. And people are sick of it.
half woman, half fish, mind you, could have that half woman part be black. Like, the backlash for that was so intense that the trailer reached over 1 million dislikes on YouTube. The hashtag #NotMyAriel began trending online. And like, the comment section became so volatile and so disgusting that it's still disabled to this day. And many people by this point have pointed out that the backlash was clearly rooted in racism. And in the case of a fictional character like Ariel, her race is not integral to the plot itself at all. Therefore, Disney had an amazing opportunity to increase black representation in their film by casting Halle in the role. And as we all know, she ate that role up. And she's not the only one. Like, you remember John Boyega? He also faced crazy criticism when it was announced.
Okay, this one I can understand. Look, I didn't mind Finn. Finn was pretty good, and why was it pretty good? Well, I'm not into the new Star Wars movies, they're pretty shit. But Finn as a character, as far as I remember, he wasn't that bad. And why? Well, because they weren't race swapping him. He's a new character, and that's completely fine. I don't have a problem with Finn being black, because otherwise that would be racist. I just have a problem of race swapping old characters and turning them into something they're not. I get this guy's point, yes. I understand if people are getting upset about Finn being black of all people. Yes, that is kind of racist. I'll grant you that, the guy we're watching. But a lot of these other things, it's race swapping. Finn, I don't have a problem with being black. It's nothing to do with the race, as I said. He was not swapped. He's a new character. That's completely fine.
That he would play Finn in Star Wars The Force Awakens. Like, things got so bad that his role led to online harassment from racist fans. And Boyega himself actually commented on the backlash in an interview, stating that Star Wars always had the vibe of being the most whitest elite space. It's a franchise that is so white that a black person existing in it was something. They're okay with us playing the best friend, but once we touch their heroes, once we lead, once we trailblaze, it's like, oh my god, it's just a bit too much.
Yeah, I can get that.
And I always hate this conversation because then the response is like, racist people then going on to like whitewash black characters where their blackness is actually integral to their story. Like, no, this isn't the same thing. Casting directors casting a person of color for a role that has historically been white, just because the industry has been historically white and the character themselves has nothing about them or nothing about their traditional whiteness.
See, it just brings people out of the immersion when they see a character that's not the original of what they were. It brings people out of the immersion because they know they're not watching a movie, they're watching a propaganda tour. They're just there to spread a message, and that's it. That's what people see. And this guy is just being so dishonest.
Impacting the story is not the same thing as taking someone like Tiana from Princess and the Frog, where her blackness is at the forefront and critical to the point of the story, just casting a white lady as it. Like, it's not the same thing. And people that are pretending like it's not Tiana from Princess and the Frog, where her blackness is at the forefront and critical to the point of the story, just casting a white lady as it. Like, it's not the same thing. And people that are pretending like it's not are just so dense. And the blatant racism that Halle, John, and now...
So this, I don't know if I heard that wrong, but is he really saying that casting a black person, originally black person as a white person, is he saying that's not the same thing? That is really fucked up. This guy is racist if that's the case. And I don't call people racist that often. But if someone is saying that it's okay to change something about a white person into something else, but it's not okay to do a black person into something else, that's not good. A lot of people like this have this mentality that you can't be racist towards a white person. Yes, you can. It's just called discrimination. Racism is literally just discrimination against a certain group of people because of their skin color. And that's what he's doing. That's what they're all doing. And people don't like to put this out because they're scared. It's like, oh, it's scary. Oh, no. Well, white people are bad. Black people are good. No. People are people. It doesn't matter what your skin color is. Anyone who looks at people's skin color and sees something different because of it, that's bad. That's bad. If you're that dense where you have to look at someone's skin color and determine something, you're just stupid. There's nothing about someone's skin color that determines that as them as a person. Their culture does, but not their race.
Lupita face as black actors in Hollywood is exactly why that representation is so important in the first place. The more people of color and queer actors we have on screen, the less shocking it becomes. And you all know as well as I do, where there are conservatives that are mad about race, transphobia is always right around the corner. And of course, there was backlash as well to the casting of Elliot Page, who came out as a transgender man in 2020. Elliot plays Sinan, who's a Greek soldier who facilitates the use of the Trojan horse. And as a response to Elliot being in the movie, Newsmax anchor Rob Finnery went on a transphobic rant tirade attacking Elliot's casting. And might I say, trigger warning for anything that's about to play.
You might even
trigger warning is actually coming from this guy making the video, not the news.
remember Brad Pitt played Achilles in a movie 20 years ago, meaning we've gone from Brad Pitt to a girl who dresses as a guy who's 5'1", 118 pounds. That's the person that's going to be playing the greatest warrior in history, because to the left, that is normal. That's okay. And to top it off...
Okay. If I'm going to be honest, I wasn't initially thinking... I was thinking it was going to be like some really non-convincing stuff, literally looking like a girl. But if this is the transgender person, they are pretty convincing male. Look, if someone's trans, obviously I'll treat you however you want, just to be kind. I'll put aside my beliefs and I'll be kind to you. It's fine. I don't like being a mean person. I might have my disagreements, but it's fine. If someone actually is, if they look like the gender they are transitioning to, and most people can find that they pass as said gender, I think that's totally fine. If we're talking about, like, we're not talking about advantages over other people. If we're not talking about bathrooms, we're not talking about, like, athletes, we're just talking about everyday stuff or the casting roles, I think it's completely fine. This person doesn't look, if I, at a first glance, actually even a normal glance, I wouldn't have realized they were actually a girl. It looks like a man. We'll say that. No, it does. It looks like a man. They look like a man. I don't know what to say. If no one was told they were trans, I don't think they would realize.
all off playing Helen of Troy, the woman who started the Trojan War. The likeness on the right, probably not great. She was beautiful. The woman whose face launched 1,000 ships, whose beauty was unparalleled, a woman who was definitely white, is going to be played by Lupita Nyong'o.
Yep.
You might be looking at this photograph saying, I think Lupita Nyong'o is black, and you're correct. We haven't adjusted anything.
So basically, Finnerty was triggered by the fact that the greatest warrior in history, who didn't exist in real life, mind you, a fictional character, will be played by a trans person. And to me, these takes honestly sound more like rage bait dog whistles used in bad faith to engagement farm, rather than
I swear this guy's doing bad faith. That's what I think.
Actual critiques or opinions. Like, let's get real. We have people who can't afford rent, groceries, and access to healthcare, but you're complaining about some fictional character. That's a complete non-issue that affects actually nobody. Open up the schools and send the flood quickly.
Yeah, you know what? It does actually affect people, because people just want to come home and sit and watch something. They don't want to have another whole bloody... They don't want to be frustrated at the movie they're trying to watch because someone wants the message shoved down their face. That's it. They don't want something shoved in their face. They just want to turn their brain off and relax and watch a movie. So yes, it is affecting people.
Casting Lupita as Helen of Troy was such a stroke of genius, because all of those dudes who were like, who will go to war
Measuring theory.
for her? It turns out the entire internet, and we are still fighting about it. She is the perfect Helen of Troy. That is all that is expected of Helen of Troy. That people go to war for her.
Like, it's just crazy to me that in this fictional world, it's believable that sea monsters, witches, and ghosts exist. And actually, if you want to wake it up and get conservatives mad, like, for one, Poseidon's son is a Cyclops, and no one bats an eye. But two, actually, wait, hold on. Y'all caught that? Ugh. And two, a
What?
major plot point in the movie is Odysseus literally going to the underworld to speak to the dead. And I don't hear the anti-woke crowd thinking twice about that. Like, that actually is the type of satanic, real devilish, dark-sided stuff that they be talking about for any other thing. But the second
I think this is why we'll leave it here with this video. This is a pretty good thing to react to. This guy's such bad faith. It's unreal. Join me live on YouTube or Twitch at the Khan Kenji at 9 PM every day Eastern Standard Time. See you there.